According to Toby Fox's latest Steam updates, Chapter 6 is expected to release sometime in 2027. That doesn't sound like much information. But I actually think we already know more than people realize. In this video, I'll go over 3 things. When I think Chapter 6 will release, where I believe the next Dark World will be, and finally, my biggest prediction, the Chapter 6 secret boss. And yes, before anyone mentions the Shadow Crystals, I know, they're actually the biggest reason why I came up with this theory in the first place. So, let's begin. When will Chapter 6 release? Originally, Toby Fox said that Chapter 5 was planned for the second half of 2026. Instead, it released much earlier on June 24th. So what does that tell us? Well, Toby only said 2027 for Chapter 6. No month, no season, nothing more specific. Because of that, I personally think the release is much more likely to happen during the second half of the year. If I had to guess a specific date, I'd choose October 31st, the anniversary of Deltarune. However, there's another possibility. What if the development process has become much faster? After Chapters 3, 4, and 5, the team probably has far more experience than before. If that's true, then I see 3 realistic possibilities. Best case scenario, Chapter 6 releases during the first half of 2027. Most likely scenario, it launches during the second half of 2027. Worst case scenario, something unexpected delays development, and we don't see Chapter 6 until sometime in 2028. Even then, I highly doubt we'd have to wait beyond late 2028. But there's another detail that caught my attention. In one of his Steam posts, Toby Fox mentioned that a large portion of Chapter 6 was already complete. Then he said something very interesting. He explained that Chapter 6 is actually easier to develop than the previous chapters. And that's where my theory begins. Most people assumed he simply meant the team became faster. But what if that's not the whole story? What if Chapter 6 itself is structured differently? Instead of one massive dark world, what if we explore several much smaller adventures before reaching the real destination? That would make the chapter easier to build while still telling a huge story. Something like this. We begin in Castle Town, possibly spending more time with Noel. We travel through several smaller dark worlds across hometown. Each one slowly pushes the story toward the bunker. The bunker becomes the final and largest dark world of the chapter. The chapter ends with a major tragedy and a cliffhanger leading directly into Chapter 7. Of course, this is only speculation, but if Toby's comment was about the structure of the chapter, not just the development speed, then this idea suddenly makes a lot of sense. Where will Chapter 6 take place? The obvious answer is the bunker, but this is Toby Fox we're talking about. If there's one thing he loves doing, it's proving everyone's expectations wrong. Because of that, I think there are 3 possible scenarios. Option 1, the entire chapter takes place inside the bunker. This is probably the least likely possibility. Still, it's absolutely possible. If this happens, I expect Chapter 6 to become one of the darkest chapters in the entire game. Maybe we'll witness a major tragedy, maybe several. Either way, I don't think this chapter will have a happy atmosphere. Option 2, a normal dark world, followed by the bunker. This is much more interesting. Instead of entering the bunker immediately, I think we'll first explore another dark world somewhere in hometown before eventually reaching the bunker later in the chapter. There are several locations that could work. The hospital is an obvious possibility, especially considering Rudy's condition. After the events of Chapter 5, his health has clearly gotten worse, making the hospital more important than ever. Another interesting location is Sans grocery store. After all, that's where we place the mysterious egg. Or maybe Toby Fox surprises everyone again and chooses a completely different location. Any place capable of creating a dark fountain could work. Option 3, multiple dark fountains across hometown. This is my favorite prediction. Instead of exploring one huge world, I think Chapter 6 could send us through several smaller dark worlds before everything leads to the bunker. But why? Because of one route, Snowgrave. On the normal route, Noel now knows much more than she did before. It's possible that Chris and Susie finally tell her the truth about the dark worlds, making her a permanent member of the party. But now imagine, what happens if the same situation occurs during Snowgrave? It wouldn't just be strange, it would be a disaster, a massacre. That's one of the biggest reasons why I believe Toby Fox intentionally removed the weird route from Chapter 6. Trying to continue Snowgrave while Noel learns the full truth could completely break the story. Instead, I think Chapter 6 will focus on preventing something even worse. The Roaring. My prediction is that we'll spend the chapter desperately trying to stop Hometown from falling into complete chaos. Eventually, we'll reach the bunker, close its dark fountain, and that's where Chapter 6 will end. The secret boss. Now let's talk about my biggest prediction. I absolutely believe Chapter 6 will have a secret boss, but I don't think it'll work like the previous ones. Instead, I think this boss will be the first true test of everything we've done throughout the game. I don't think we'll simply discover a hidden room. I don't think we'll find a random key. Instead, I believe we'll need all 5 shadow crystals collected from the previous secret bosses. After collecting them, we'll bring them to Seam, and that's where things become interesting. I don't think Seam literally gives us a key. The key is probably symbolic. Instead, we'll receive an item, or maybe some kind of protection, that allows us to either access the battle or survive it, similar to how the Shadow Mantle protected us during Chapter 3. As for the boss itself, I'm not even going to guess who it is. Trying to predict secret boss identities is almost impossible. However, there are a few things I'm surprisingly confident about. First, I think this will easily become one of the hardest fights in Deltarune. Second, there's a very good chance the battle introduces the Blue Soul mechanic. We've already seen multiple soul colors throughout the series, and blue feels like the next logical step. Third, I'm almost certain all 5 shadow crystals will be required. They've been building towards something since Chapter 1. It would make perfect sense for them to finally become important here. And finally, I think this boss will be incredibly important to the overall story. Some people immediately jump to characters like Gaster or even the mysterious friend. Personally, I don't think Toby Fox would reveal someone that important as just another optional boss fight. Secret bosses have always represented something much deeper than powerful enemies. They're pieces of the world's hidden story. That's why I don't think guessing who the secret boss is really matters. The more interesting question is, what role will they play in Deltarune's biggest mystery? We'll have to wait until Chapter 6 to find out. Until then, these are my predictions. Thanks for watching.